Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. This time I'm reading Chapter 23 from Animorphs Number 1 The Invasion by K.A. Applegate. Help! Please! Someone help us! We have been hearing cries like that all the way down those steps. But now we were close enough to give the cries a human face. It cut straight to my soul. There was a second steel pier. That was the loading station. There the host bodies were dragged from their holding cages to have the Yeerks re-enter their heads. It was a pretty basic process. They grabbed the host, whether human or Hork-Bajir, and forced their heads down into the pool. The people sometimes fought and screamed, and sometimes just cried. But they always lost. When their heads were yanked back up out of the pool, we could see the slugs still slithering into their ears. After a few minutes, they would become calm again, as the Yeerks regained control. Then off they went, once more slaves of the Yeerks. It was a horrible assembly line from the unloading pier to the holding cages to the infant station pier. They moved the poor victims through at a pretty speedy rate. But there was another area we could only now see. There, humans and Hork-Bajir waited on comfortable chairs, sipping drinks and actually watching TV. Taxons squirmed around like gigantic spiny maggots. I heard the faint sound of a television set. I was sure I could hear laughter from the humans. They were watching the show and having a good laugh. Those are the voluntary hosts, Tobias said. Collaborators. What are you talking about? I demanded. You remember what the Andalite told us. Many humans and Hork-Bajir are voluntary hosts. Tobias replied. The Yeerks persuade them to let them take over. I can't believe that, Rachel said. No person would ever let this happen to them. No one would ever give up control of himself. Some people are scum, Rachel, Marco said. Sorry to burst your balloon. The Yeerks convinced them that taking on a Yeerk will solve all their problems. I think that's what the sharing is all about. People believe that by becoming something different, they can leave behind all their pain. Like spending all their time as a hawk, Marco pointed out. Tobias had nothing to say to that. He spread his wings and flew up and away. Tobias, come back, I called to him. We have to get moving, Rachel said. We've been standing here staring for too long. She looked at Marco. Don't be a jerk to Tobias, okay? We need everyone. Tobias came swooping back toward us. Cassie, he said. She's on the pier. The infant station pier. They're going to turn her into a host. With my normal human eyes, I couldn't see that well in the purple gloom. I could just make out the cop's uniform and the small shape beside him. "Do you see Tom?" I asked Tobias. In answer, he flapped his powerful wings and gained altitude. I saw him high over the pool, and then he came back toward us in a power dive. "I see him," he said. I hesitated before asking. I wasn't sure I wanted to know the answer. Is he in the cages? Or is he voluntary? "He's in a cage," Tobias said. "He's yelling his brains out at the Yeerk guards." Yes! I knew Tom would never have gone voluntarily. I knew they must have taken him kicking and punching. "Cassius, get near the end of the pier," Tobias warned. "We only have a few minutes before they infest her." It was time. We were at the bottom of the steps. We ran over to hide behind a storage shed of some kind. Marco pulled me around the corner, drawing me close so that I could hear him whisper, "Look, before we do this, there's one thing, Jake. You have to promise me." I knew what he was going to say. "If I have to die, okay. But don't let them take me. Don't let them put one of those things in my head. It'll be okay. You," a voice yelled. A human voice. "You two. Who are you?" I spun around. A man. Just one man. But beside him, flanking him, was a big Yeerk looking suspicious. And on the other side, a taxon. Somehow the man hadn't seen Rachel. She was just around the corner of the building. But he had seen Marco and me talking. I guess it hadn't looked quite right to him. "Us?" Marco asked. "Who are we? Hey, who are you?" "Take them," the man ordered. The Yeerk advanced on us. The taxon slithered forward on its dozens of sharp, spiny legs and red jelly eyes, quivering mouth opening and closing in anticipation. I knew I had to morph. But I was frozen with fear. Then I saw Rachel. She had gotten around behind the controllers. And she was getting very, very large. Okay, that's it for this chapter now. Come on, switch to the pages. Okay. So yeah, Marco was a character who, when I noticed this while rereading, that it took me a couple books to actually like and admire his character. And in this chapter you can see actually one of his good traits. Well, I find it good. He's like, "Listen, I don't mind dying, okay? I sort of figured that's probably where this all is heading, but I don't want to become a controller, because to me, being a controller is worse than death." And yeah, I hope this little head made you a little happy. I'm sorry I kept on having to pull it down because it kept on wanting to come off. I think my penguin hat was like, "You're reading this shit again? Fuck this." doesn't work like that ad. But anyways, since this is the second video and final video of this week, don't worry, we'll be returning next week. And if not next week, the week after. Woohoo! But anyways, if you have heard me this reading so far and you're like, I actually want to read this for myself, maybe you want to read it because you just don't want me talking, you just don't like my voice that much for that reason, or if you just want to see where I made certain inflections and certain choices, because this is an interpretation that I'm reading. You know, my choices of inflection, my choices that pause, my choices that emphasize a certain word over another. You might want to read the original text, or you might, you know, just want to read ahead. Like, I'm not going to wait for this person to continue reading. If you're watching this on my blog, it will be there'll be an Amazon ad to buy the book. And if you're watching this on the YouTubes, there will be a link in the description to buy the book. So you can help support me and at the same time read something really awesome. So yeah, and bloopers will be out later, of course, and later tonight I should actually have this put out on my blog, if not later tonight, tomorrow. So yeah. And as always, if you're a drinking person like me, you know, take a shot of some of your favorite alcohol. In my case, I'm having sake, and I'm using Revenge of the Jedi. I could hold this one-handed, but I'm like, Revenge of the Jedi, for those of you who don't know, is the original title for Return of the Jedi. And so, you know, your favorite alcohol, just pour and take a shot. And if you don't drink alcohol for whatever reason, and don't worry, it isn't like you have to drink alcohol or you're not cool if you don't drink alcohol or something's wrong with you. You know, drink some water. You know, if you haven't drank in a few hours, you know, drink a nice glass like this of water. I have some tea in that glass. Okay. Here's to Marco. And to Tom not being a voluntary controller. Woohoo! Yeah. Let me just make sure. And, you know, if you want to subscribe to this channel so you'll be updated when the new parts are released, please do. And until next video, goodbye.